Folks, you're in the George Brooks Library and Learning Centre, which has been created in the old Peerless Roller Mill at the National Motor Museum at Birdwood. The collection consists of around 20,000 magazines, 4,000 general books, and about the same number of manuals and automotive sort of information books that came with cars, as well as we also have maps, all of the sort of things that related to the repair of vehicles. So it's a very broad and general collection. This is the George Brooks Library. This is in fact a photo of George with his beloved Straker Squire. George was a very interesting gentleman. He was the chief water engineer in South Australia and was the man who was responsible for most of the major pipelines running fresh water around South Australia. He obviously had an interest in old cars or veteran cars, and this particular vehicle is one of his. We like to put it in the library because we like to tell George's story. There's a reason this library is here, and it relates to the fact that George was an automotive historian, an automotive writer, and a sort of automotive journalist, and it's really important that he founded this collection. This collection consists virtually entirely of all of George's reference material, and from that we have grown that collection much wider. George's interests kind of really stopped at the end of the veteran era, but we obviously want to carry that interest forth to the new generations who've got new interests. So the library is run under the Bewley classification system. It relies on a ledger which indicates how the items are to be registered in the collection. It doesn't quite fit with the Dewey Decimal System. However, we found it to be more useful than the Dewey Decimal System. We run a computer catalog system which uses a program called FileMaker Pro. It's not the ideal system, but it does allow us to at least administer the collection. So as the curator, I'm responsible for the day-to-day running of the library. I have a number of volunteers that work with me. Some are specialist volunteers that tend to relate to certain collections, particularly Chrysler or Mitsubishi. Others are more generalist and will relate to basically any vehicles. We also answer a lot of public inquiries. We do a bit of work for various commercial organisations occasionally. They ask for things like photos, etc. So as you can see now, there is a large pile of items. This has all come recently from Mitsubishi Motors Australia when they moved their headquarters from Tonsley Park into the Adelaide airport area. They had a large collection of archives that they wished to pass on to us, which they've done. It includes everything from, as you can see, clay models, film. We're not going to keep it all, we just simply can't. However, we're acting as a clearinghouse and we're appropriating it to the right collecting institutions. And in many cases there are many double ups, which is just typical of an organisation like a car company that just collects items in a haphazard manner. Up here we have our journal collection, journals or magazines. There's approximately 20,000 magazines, I suspect, in this area. We cover motorcycles, vehicles, caravans, motorhomes. We also have here our collection of motorsport pamphlets and programs, as well as car shows and rally programs. So it's a fairly broad and general collection. We try to collect everything that's related to Australia specifically. Overseas magazines we tend to not so much collect, simply because we really need to concentrate on an Australian collection. It's getting very large.